Hey guys, it's been a hot minute since you heard from me, and those of you with social media affinity will know that I've been on the more quiet side because I've gotten sick, and it's very well possible that you can't hear it in my voice right now. At any rate, I have risen from my deathbed to take a few minutes to talk about the Avoid as Teammate feature that Blizzard is adding to Overwatch. And since I really want to keep it brief, let's cut the intro and get right into it. The good and the bad of the Avoid as Teammate feature. To be honest, one big problem that I have with this feature has been summed up by Fredo over on Twitter. Overwatch is putting in features to avoid players before being able to meaningfully team with them. Now, that doesn't take away from the benefits that this feature is going to bring, as limited as they might be to some of us, but it is an admission of guilt sides of Blizzard in the sense that they know that their policies are plain and simply wrong in the eyes of the community, and they try to fix that first over adding crucial features that this game should have had since launch. The development team has shown us time and time again that they are aware of the disparity between what the community finds acceptable and what they find acceptable. And you may call me old school, but back in the day, communities made games successful. But Blizzard is obviously taking all of that away from us. The whole process of developing a competitive scene on our own, giving us the tools to host and moderate our own tournaments and slowly figure out what kinds of rule sets we find acceptable, all of that has been taken out of our control. Instead, Blizzard spent millions upon millions of dollars building a professional esports league from the ground up, neglecting the core competitive community, and instead only focus on the big money-making aspects that come with the Overwatch League. Don't get me wrong, I love the league, and I honestly think it is one of the best things that happened to Overwatch, period. But that is only the case because they neglected the competitive community and left us to our own devices without giving us any devices. That's to say that we have to deal with their bullshit and we're not even allowed to create and further our own competition. Now, as off-topic as all that might sound, it is merely to illustrate what this feature is truly there for, as an admission of guilt that the way Blizzard is trying to police the game is never going to be entirely accepted by the community. Yes, a lot of us don't like one-tricks, and yes, we do deem their actions to be disruptive and anti-competitive. And to roughly quote Fredo once again, man, you were on a roll last night when it comes to your tweets, buddy. In Overwatch, you can do things that in other games you would get vote kicked out of the lobby for, but instead, here you are protected like your own class of people. But enough philosophy for now, let's talk objective benefits. What this feature effectively does is giving us a foolproof way of queue dodging people. So if you ran into somebody you really don't want to play with for one reason or another, boom, avoid this teammate and you won't see them in your team again for another 7 days. People were disappointed that you only get 2 slots to avoid other players, but the way Jeff explained how the feature works, you don't need a massive list of players to have better control of your own gameplay experience. For those of you who are up in high elo, seeing the same faces over and over again happens quite regularly, but there are also different kinds of players active at different times throughout the day. So rather than seeing this feature as a massive blacklist, see it as a queue dodge tool that you can utilize on a session-by-session basis. Personally, I don't play the game at the same time every day, and I didn't even when I was still actively competing for elo. So the way I would use the feature, and I'm planning to use it as soon as I feel better, is by simply cycling players through it every time I play. There are many reasons you could want to avoid others for, but simply losing is not a good reason for me. The occasions where I genuinely don't want to play with somebody are actually rather far and few between, so it's like an emergency button for worst case scenarios. Reality is that this feature is not going to fix the fundamental problems with Blizzard's policies regarding what is and isn't acceptable in competitive play, but it is a step in the right direction. Quite frankly, I hope that the threshold for players to receive a warning, making them aware that they've been avoided by many other players, is rather low so people can think about their actions. You see, it always feels like it's up for debate as to what the community finds acceptable. Obviously, there's a niche for everything, and within your own community, you will find acceptance for the things that you practice in the open environment of competitive play. And as much as we, as an entire community, seem to disagree with each other on the forums and on Reddit, this feature could potentially be an indisputable way of telling what the majority of us wants. Whether we do or don't find one-tricking acceptable, what we consider poor teamwork, and how we believe the game should be played. You know my stance on it, but my thoughts and ideas are not the be-all and end-all. This feature, however, Could be. It isn't going to help players to perceive each and every one of their teammates to always be a problem. Those unwilling to make themselves part of a team but rather only blame others and keep spouting about elo hell. It isn't going to massively impact your gameplay experience if you are somewhere in the middle of the pack when it comes to your rank, because there are just too damn many players in those ratings. But for those who understand the game, understand team dynamics, and understand the optimal way of playing it, this feature is a step in the right direction. A chance for us to take our gameplay experience in our own hands. And ultimately, an admission of guilt sides of Blizzard that I never thought I would be seeing. This is gonna wrap up our video for today, talking about the good and the bad of the Avoid as Teammate feature. If you enjoy my content and want to support me directly, then you can do so with a $5 YouTube sponsorship via YouTube Gaming or by following the link in the description below. It's essentially YouTube's version of a Twitch subscription. You can cancel anytime and most of the money actually goes straight to me, so it does help out quite a lot. I want to thank everybody who has sponsored the channel thus far. It is particularly thanks to you guys that faces like these where I'm laying sick in bed and my views are taking a nosedive into oblivion that I still have some kind of income. So thanks for your support, guys. If you want to help me out without spending money, which, hey, I get it, maybe share this video with a friend you think would find it interesting. But until then, thank you everybody so much for watching. Don't forget to drop me a like on your way out if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope to see you all next time.